Good afternoon, guys. Look, my hair looks right in the best, isn't it? Anyway, I hope you're well, and we're just waiting for my guest. Sorry about my hair. I don't know what's wrong with it today. It's a pain in the backside. I hope you're all well and doing okay. Um, yes. So, hello. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm just trying to swap my hair out. It's windy at the moment. It's in the right mess.
Oh,
So I was telling everybody, okay, so um, yeah, please leave your messages till afterwards, not while we're interviewing. And also, please, if you can, make sure that the people on the radio make sure also do the same. That's all I'm saying. Thank you very much. Oh yes, can I call you? Is it Sarah or Sarah?
it's Sarah.
Sarah. Okay. Tell everybody about yourself, Sarah.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on here. It's nice to see
Brilliant.
you. Um, and my name is Sarah Beth Wald, and I am a writer by trade. I am a former social worker also, and my my day job is I am a content creator for marketing. And what my current project is I am teaching an online course called Mastering the Media, Navigating the News with Mindfulness. And what that is a response to the anxiety and stress that the news media and all of the world events are causing for people. And my goal is to combine my experience with journalism and my social work and teach people how to navigate the news without triggering all of that anxiety and stress. They want to stay informed, but they're kind of avoiding the news because it's just
Well, it's
toxic and
upsetting.
negative.
Yeah.
So that's what I do.
Great, great. I'm used to kind of like being in the media, and I know what it's like to be in the media. Um, and the trouble is, it can be very stressing for people who is in the media, or they want to listen to latest stories like the COVID or anything, because it can be really crucial, can it, for somebody?
It can. And it's especially triggering for people who are already feeling depressed or anxious. And what happens is people either ignore world events or they rely on other people to tell them what's going on, um, or they get sucked down the negative rabbit hole of information online. So I think that a lot of us don't even realize how stressful and how damaging the news can be to our mental health. So I want to raise awareness around that and give people an alternative to help them to find their own news, trust their own judgment and insights. And we're all busy. So figuring out a way to do that quickly and efficiently so that we can get on with our day. That's what my mission is.
Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. So you were a journalist, is that
Yep.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
And what did you do? Did you used to work for television or paper or?
I am very passionately a print writer. So no, I never did broadcast. Um, and I wrote a newspaper column for a couple of newspapers every week for 8 years. And I took a break from that about 5 years ago to focus on other writing projects and my family and things. And well, lots of has happened in the last 5 years.
Mm,
The world kind of went a little crazy.
It has, certainly has. And the trouble is, when you're a journalist, uh, this is right, when you're a journalist, the trouble is, the news that you've got to put out sometimes is not the news that people want to hear. Am I on the right level?
You absolutely are. Yes. So there is a lot of bad news, and that is it's stressful for people, and it's stressful for journalists. I think that people kind of blame journalists for all the bad news. And there definitely is an aspect of, there's a saying in journalism, a cynical saying called if it bleeds, it leads. And those are the stories that attract the most attention. And in especially the cable news market, where they try to find 24 hours of news, and they end up recycling the same bad news over and over and over again. But there are journalists out there who are doing great work, and there are also good stories out there, positive stories. So the point is to try to help people find those sources and something that they can feel good about and rely on without spending hours getting sucked into all of the negative that's
But
going on.
the trouble is, there's two sides to the story here because what you've got to look at too is sometimes journalists can be a pain in the backside, can they?
Absolutely.
So that's what you've got to look at. When I was in doing television work and I was in the media quite a bit, they were on my case, 24 hours a day. If it wasn't, they would come to my house, they were phoning me up. But the trouble is, what you've got to realize is that the journalists is, they kind of, sometimes they can make people's lives hell, really.
So were you, I'm curious to know how you were involved in the media. What was your role?
Can we discuss that afterwards?
Sure,
Yeah,
we sure can.
we would definitely do that. I will tell you a bit about myself afterwards. But the trouble is, Lucy, the trouble is with any media or anything, the trouble is there's a lot of media out there. There's a lot of stories out there, true stories, but also there are fake stories. And when the fake stories come out, that makes it really bad for people. And it can make people kind of like suicidal, whatever, can it?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a dangerous thing. And what people have to learn that has shifted in the media in the last 20 years is that the media has shifted to a framework, especially television media, to analyzing and breaking down and applying meaning to what the world events are, instead of giving us the information, just giving us the facts and letting us figure it out and decide. And so what happens is people are getting told, this is what you should believe, this is how you should interpret this is what this means. And it becomes really overwhelming for people. And they start to doubt their own judgment. They start to doubt, well, this isn't how I approach this information, but if they're telling me this is, and so it becomes really dangerous, especially for people who are already feeling depressed and anxious.
Yeah, it can be. And the trouble is, so why journalism for you then?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Why did you want to be a journalist?
What made me want to be a journalist? Well, I love writing, and I was a social worker. And when I first went to graduate school to study journalism, I felt like I wanted to help people to see, really to see the world the way I saw the world. And what was interesting, when I got into journalism school, I learned that that's exactly the opposite of why someone should become a journalist. And I learned a lot about bias, how to identify my own bias, how to identify the bias in others, and how to objectively deliver information without trying to guide the worldview of the viewers. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people in the last 20 years who have gone into journalism have taken that activist perspective. And I personally feel like that's not the arena for it. I think people need to just get the facts.
Yeah, yeah. We've got Kimberly says journalism is very important.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's very important only if the truth comes out and the facts are true. Not like, but you got to admit though, some places, some TV and some other media channels, they do kind of like lie or beef it up a bit, don't they?
They do. They do. And I agree with Kimberly that journalism is important. I focused an entire module on, and I'm US based, so I talk about the US free speech, but it's also applicable to anywhere where there is free speech or anywhere that wishes they had free speech. Something that really motivated me to start this mission was when somebody scrolled "murder the media" on the US Capitol this last January. And that terrified me because I realized that people are so disillusioned with the media right now that it's becoming dangerous. And it's dangerous for journalists and people in the media. It's dangerous for people out of the media who are trying to who are frustrated with it all. And so when journalism is done right, it is crucial to democracy. When it's done wrong, it is extremely dangerous. The media has a lot of power.
Yeah. Let's move on a bit. Let's talk about your book, because you've written a book, haven't you?
Well, right now I have a course, and I plan on putting it into a book, and I'm working on it right now.
Yeah.
So, and it's the same sort of learning content. It's just delivered in a different form. So it will be the same title and offer the same lessons, but everybody learns differently. So some people just want to have that book in their hands and go through it.
Right. And the courses that you're doing, tell everybody what kind of courses they can they join these courses, Sarah?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. I can put, is there a place to put in the chat? Will people see the link? I can put a link up.
Yeah, if you put a link up, and I will share it later on to everybody.
Perfect.
And I'll put it on our website for you.
Okay. Yep. So it's called learning.sarabethwald.com. And they can go there and sign up for the course. And I'm going to continue to add. Right now, there's a guide for some no-stress, time-saving news sources that help them kind of customize their news experience. And the course it's a 3-hour course. So it's a masterclass. It's a deep dive into why the media is important to democracy, that the media is a business. It teaches about bias, how to identify your own bias, how to identify other people's bias, and how important it is to recognize that we all have bias. We all come to the world with our own sets of values and beliefs based on our temperament and experience. So some people think bias is a bad thing. I actually don't. I think it's just a part of who we are.
Yes,
and so we talk a lot about that. And then we talk about mindfulness and how to navigate life, really, not just the media, with boundaries, accountability, and grace. And so I talk about how then they can apply that framework to their media usage so that they can feel more informed, but also feel less anxious and feel like they have more autonomy and control over what information that they're going to trust and what information they can set boundaries with and set aside.
Okay, and how much would this cost?
The course is $49.99 right now. So I tried to keep it a price that I gave it away for free for a while, and I'm glad I did. But now it's like, well, I put a lot of time and energy into this, so I have to put some sort of a price on it.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, and it'd be worthwhile too, wouldn't it? It'd be worthwhile because you'd be able to teach quite a lot about, about the media and about other things that you've experienced yourself, really, as well.
Yeah, it's hard to put a price on your 20 years of passion and education and make it so that people can still afford it, though, because I really do feel passionate about this, that we need to change that whole narrative. And the ultimate goal, of course, ideally, the big picture would be that eventually, if we all get a little bit more savvy with our media use, that it will shift the media market. And the news will start responding to what people expect. But we have to set those expectations.
Sarah, what do we expect? What do you want people to expect?
That is a great question. Well, first I'll say what people are kind of looking for now. And we all kind of, and myself included, I mean, like I said, I went into media with a different perspective, and then I changed my viewpoint. But we go in wanting our worldview validated. And when you approach the news wanting to be told what you want to hear, then the media market responds by giving you more of what you want to hear. Of course, it raises it raises viewers and ratings, which means more money and more advertising dollars. So it's sort of a chicken and an egg thing. What came first? Did the media drive this toxic division, or did we as the market drive the toxic division? So what we need to change is our expectation we want the truth. We don't want editorializing and telling us what to think. We want a clear distinction between this is editorial content and this is news. And when we shift that expectation, we will ideally, in a perfect world, see the media shift their marketing approach and their approach to information to meet that need.
Definitely so. Yeah, definitely so. Also, can I just, for the last 10 minutes, can I talk about your social work, if you don't mind?
Sure.
Yeah. Why social work?
Well, when I first started college, that's what I studied. I had my own trauma growing up, and I wanted to be able to help other people to overcome that. And it's interesting, and I think this is the case for a lot of people. When we try to help other people, we end up helping ourselves the most. And so it was a very healing time for me, a time of a lot of growth. I worked in a lot of different areas. I worked in addiction counseling, and I worked at a great mentoring organization in the United States called Big Brothers Big Sisters for many years. I worked with the senior community, organizing senior volunteers. So yeah, I've had kind of a broad range of career opportunities.
Trouble is with social work, it's hard work, and the trouble is that you know it can be kind of like tough for different other people, especially when you get involved with like children and vulnerable adults. Because it's like if you take a child away from somebody's home, it can be difficult. How did you feel when when or if you did that?
So I never worked in child protective services very consciously. I just didn't have the stomach for it.
Right.
Because it takes a very specific set of skills and the ability to not take your work home with you. But even in the areas that I worked in, it does take its toll. It is hard not to take your work home with you when you are really walking through other people's trauma and struggle alongside of them.
It can be hard work to be a social worker. Um, in your life so far, everything that you've done, what have you enjoyed most?
Oh, that's a great question. Um, Honestly, I might be enjoying most what I'm doing right now. Um, I turned 45 this month, and it's taken me, a long time to figure out a way to take my passion for writing and for journalism and free speech, which are all things that are really important to me, and combine it with my passion for social work and for helping people and for healing from trauma. And so I'm really loving what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, I can see the actual compassion on you when you're talking about it. In your writings, what is your writings most about? What do you actually write about? Do you write about media? I know you write about media stuff, but also do you write about what's happened in your life?
I do. And I have an intention of doing a memoir, but I haven't gotten that far yet. I have written a lot of different things. I've written fiction, and my newspaper column was really it was a really vulnerable look into my life. And during the years that I was writing that, I went from a divorced single mom to falling in love, getting married, having another baby, going through, and I just stepped through that process through my column and talked a lot about my experiences and tried to make it relatable to bring I don't know, bring people together and find commonality, because so many of our experiences are relatable if we're willing to share them.
Yeah, yeah. In your family life, what does your partner think about you? Kind of like you know doing your writings and everything. Is he supportive?
Absolutely. Yeah, he is really supportive. And when we met, I was already writing my column, and it was just sort of part of the deal. It's like, well, I write about my life. So if you are not okay with being a part of the story, then you might want to run in the other direction. So yeah, he's very supportive.
Okay, let's get some questions for some people from the radio. Let me just get them on there. Okay, Sarah, what was it like to work in the media I bet it was a stressful job. Right, it's from Ellen.
Hmm. You know, um, it can be stressful. I was in, for the most of my time in the media, I was in a pretty warm and fuzzy environment. Um, but yeah, as soon as you put yourself out there, you're always going to have critics, and you get a really thick skin, because no matter what you say, there's always going to be someone who doesn't like what you're
Mm,
saying.
mm. Okay, thank you. Tony wants to know, what's the biggest story that you ever done?
Ooh, um, gosh. I wasn't like an investigator. I wish. I mean, I never did get into the whole investigative journalism. Um, in my newspaper column, I would tackle some pretty big subjects. Um, and it was kind of a mixed bag, but if there was something going on in the world, I would try to talk about it. So I'm trying to remember some of the big things that generated controversy and interest.
Trump.
I talked a lot about refugees. At the time, it was refugees from Sudan and some different areas. The world's changed a little bit, but I take an interest in what's going on in Africa and human rights stories. And once in a while, I'll dip my toe into politics, but I try to do it from a really neutral place. And so I did not do any breaking news stories, which maybe that needs to happen later on.
Okay, great, great. Jeff wants to know, what did you think about the Trump scenario?
Wow, that's a loaded question. I'm not going to take a stand on that specifically, just because the goal of my course is to reach people from all different perspectives. And I have
Yeah,
my own opinions about it, for sure. But I think it's important that we try to identify, like, okay, these are my feelings. This is how I feel about this, and step beyond that and look at how can I find the truth, even if it violates, my own worldview and my own stuff.
yeah, you said enough there. Linda wants to know, what was it best? What did you like best about doing social work?
I loved the kids and the joy, the people. Um, I think that when we hear about social services and things, we think about, if we don't live within that space, we don't, it's easy to judge other people and think, well, how'd they get into this mess in the first place? But when you really connect with people on an individual level, you realize that they're just doing the best they can. And you meet these amazing people that you would not have gotten to know if you hadn't stepped outside of your own comfort zone and reached out to help someone else.
Good, good. And oh God, I've just seen one just now. Colin. Colin wants to know, if you wanted to write one story to go into a major paper, what would it be about?
Wow, that's a great question. I think I would love to bring awareness to, it's hard to pick. There's so many things I would love to talk about. I would love to break a story about corruption in the media. That would be awesome. And it's sort of a catch-22, because the media doesn't want to publish that about themselves.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
but it would be cool.
Right. Okay. Melissa wants to know, how do you juggle everything together with your children?
Well, you choose your battles. Yeah, and I have a friend who is a doctor in an emergency room, and I was once fretting because my son's toenails weren't cut or something. I can't remember. And she said they're fed and they're not dead. So, I think that moms and dads are too hard on ourselves. We try to do it all. It's okay if the laundry doesn't get folded. And so that's what I've had to learn, is just give myself grace. And as long as I am being engaged and active with them and meeting their needs, the laundry can wait.
The laundry can wait. Great. Yeah, great. Beverly wants to know. Beverly wants to know. Can you name one thing that you wanted to change? Anything about your life?
One thing I would change about my life. Man.
Sorry for all the questions, but we do get some funny questions on here.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't mind answering it. I'm an open book. One thing I would change about my life. I don't, I've had a great life. It's had its ups and downs for sure. I wish I had done more stuff in my 20s. I was very focused on my education and career.
Yeah.
And I wish I just had more fun.
Yeah. Good. Right, okay, guys, last couple of questions. Okay. Okay, if you were given £1 million, what would you do with it?
I would start my own publishing company and just publish great books.
Okay, really good. And Gwen wants to know, what's the most embarrassing moment you have had in your life?
Wow.
Come on. Let's get it out.
It's hard to pick. I've done some goofy things in my life. Well, let's see. The most embarrassing thing. I've done some really embarrassing driving things. When the thing that pops into this is a better one. So I was hanging signs for a nonprofit that I was working for, and I was on campus when I was in college, and I was told to go into the auditorium rec center gym and hang posters for this nonprofit. And I was told that the building was empty and I could go anywhere I wanted. And one of the places they wanted to hang them were in locker rooms. So I, thinking that it was all empty, walked into the men's locker room at the University of Montana and walked into a room full of naked college football players. And I just wanted to disappear. It was it was very embarrassing.
Yeah. Okay. What else is it? We got one more. Okay. How do I contact you if I want to talk to you about your courses, please? I'm very interested.
Awesome. Yeah, probably the best way to reach me is by email. My email address is Sara, which is SARA. There's no H. So it's Sara at sarabethwald.com. You could also go to my website. It's sarabethwald.com. You can look me up on Facebook, Sara Beth Wald, and those are pretty good ways to reach me.
Yeah, there you go. There you go, guys. There you go. Brilliant. Steve, would it be possible to have Sara back again? Would it be possible? Gosh, everybody's liking you, Sara.
Oh, that's so
Brilliant.
nice.
I will ask if she would like to come back again. Um, okay, guys, thank you very much. I'm going to be back around about 7 o'clock tonight with some more. In the meantime, I'm going to say bye bye for now because I'm going to go and have some tea. If you wait there for a minute, Sarah, then I have a chat. Anyway, see you later, guys. Bye bye.